Hey guys, quick video. Forgive me about the visual. I'm currently indisposed. I'm not at home, but I wanted to make a video of a handy tip that might help some of you guys if you're replacing the lever action handle on your older GE dishwasher, which I had to do last night. I watched lots of videos online. There's a few different tutorials. I think it's appliancepartspros.com or something. They have a pretty good video, and there's a couple other places that have a pretty good video of how to install this part. And it looks like a simple enough thing, and it should take 5 minutes. And I wanted to add a little clarification about this job, should you have to do it. I'm sorry I don't have the visualization, but you can get the visualization from any of the other assorted videos. My quick little handy tip. I've never disassembled a dishwasher before, and I was hesitant to do so because I don't want to ruin anything. I'm mechanically inclined, but I tend not to work on my own appliances because I have bad luck, things go wrong. Despite my best efforts and intentions, things happen and things don't always work out for the best. So I'm kind of pick and choose my battles with appliances, but I thought I could handle this for sure. So I ordered the new part from Appliance Parts Pros, and I got it within a couple days. And I'm looking at the part, and it's a precarious looking part with a lever and a release where you push the release so you can move the lever. It's kind of a curious looking part. But I did happen to notice that on my existing dishwasher, the latch either would not close. This is while the dishwasher is empty. The latch either would not close completely. The cycle kept stopping. Sometimes the cycle would not run through at all. I was having to resort to advancing the timer by hand every once in a while to do my dishes. And then finally it wouldn't close at all, and the door I couldn't even start a cycle. And I looked at the door latch assembly while it was assembled, and I noticed that when you grab the little handle on the outside of the dishwasher, the one you slide to the right to engage the door latch, when you hold your hand on that lever and then you look at the little tab, the metal tab inside the door that is supposed to actually latch the door, and you hold a finger on one and then you hold your finger on the latch, there is a definite slop and disconnect in that whole assembly. But if you're not familiar with it, it's a little intimidating. It feels like something is loose or needs to be tightened. I don't know. I ordered the replacement part last night. I took the door apart. And mind you, you have to do what they say, and the two screws at the bottom of the dishwasher door are a different finer machine thread. You have to remove those, keep those separate. And I took all the other ones out, okay. And I lifted open the door, and then I separated the shell, like mine is stainless steel on the front. The shell came down, but it was spring loaded, so it kept wanting to come back up. So I found the door latch, and it looks like you're supposed to take like a screwdriver and poke it through a hole on the back to release the assembly out of the door. And mine just kind of fell out. The whole assembly fell out. Nothing visibly broken. It's an awkward thing. It's got a spring in there, like a cam type thing going on. And by the way, you have to remove the plastic knob off the lever of the dishwasher first so you can open the door. While you're removing screws, you also have to remove the knob off of the handle of the dishwasher, like the videos, all of them say to do. Did all that. Opened the door. I got out the old assembly, and I'm looking at it, and I don't see anything visibly broken. I don't know what I'm looking at. And I've seen a lot of mechanical stuff, and I'm a machinist by trade. I'm looking at this thing, and it's not pot metal, but it's steel and some kind of stamped brass or something like that. And I'm looking at it, and I don't see a visible difference between my old part and my new part. Regardless, I'm gonna just swap out the part. So I took the new part, and when you're doing this job, what they don't tell you in those videos is the new part just sits in like a little slot. It doesn't lock in, it doesn't click in, it doesn't even stay in. It just sits there, and the only thing that holds it in place is when you shut the main shell and screw it all together. That's what holds that part in place. It doesn't click in or lock in. If you look closely at the door, you'll see two little slots, and there's two little fins if you have it aligned correctly. And you have to release the lever button on the back to move the lever to the center position, and then insert it into those little slots. And it takes some doing. It took me a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes to assess what was happening there. And I was waiting for the thing to click into place. I said, is something broken? Because it keeps falling out. When I try to close the door skin and button it back up, it won't align, and it keeps falling down and falling out. And I said, this is a really kind of a ridiculous thing here. But then as I look closer, that part just sits in that little slot. It just sits there. And if you open the door where it's sitting, it'll just fall out. So you have to keep the door vertical, slide the little piece in, and the tricky part is to bring up the door shell, the outside of the door, to screw it all together. But the problem is when you bring the door shell up to mate it with the inside, it doesn't just drop into place. It doesn't just go back into place. There's always something that's hanging it up. So it's crooked, there's a gap, part falls out in between the door. Open up the door, reinstall the part, and kind of hold it in place while you try to close the door shell and wiggle it and finagle it, and you're trying to get the door shell to drop in place, and you almost got it, and the part falls out. Open it up, do it again. After a few tries, you'll get it. You'll get the door shell aligned correctly where it fits in the inner door, and it will mate correctly, and all the gaps will close. And then you can put your screws in. Only then, once the door shell is mated with the inside of the door, will the part stay in place and you can progress the job. You can continue the job. So when you have it all closed up and the shells are aligned, then you bring it down, hold it closed, and gingerly put your screws back in, by hand preferably. And mind to put the two bottom screws back where they belong, or else you're going to have problems. So I got it all buttoned up, and got it all put back together, and I said, I don't think this is going to make any difference. I put the knob back on the bracket, and then I moved the lever, and I noticed the little tab inside the dishwasher that latches it. Still, there's slop in there between the handle and the lever that closes the dishwasher. It feels sloppy. But I guess that's how it's supposed to be, because it's not, as you would think, one direct arm that hooks the inside latch. There's a cam assembly that does a little camming action. Regardless, I put it back together. I put some dishes in the dishwasher. I closed it, gingerly closed it, didn't push extra hard like I have been doing to try to get the dishwasher to engage. I just moved it until it comfortably closed, and then I tried to start it with the timer, and I said, this is not going to work. And sure enough, it worked. It worked perfectly. It ran a full cycle, no problem. And it looked like that solved my problem. And I thought it was a timer assembly that was bad, so I actually purchased a timer assembly, and I have that. And I can put that in as well. Now that I've opened the door up and I'm familiar with what's inside of the dishwasher, I would feel more comfortable if I had to go back in and replace that timer assembly, because that's not a very complicated job either. But I chose not to do it at that point. I just wanted to do the handle and see where we're at. So I ran a cycle and everything ran fine from start to finish last night. So hopefully going forward, I will continue to have good luck. And this dishwasher is about 5 years old, daily use. And I think what my problem was, most importantly, is I have a stock pot, not a huge one, but a good sized stock pot that I put on the bottom rack towards the back. And it never sits flush. It's always tilted because of the way the pins are and the way I stack my dishes. And what happened, I think, was the stock pot tilted against and was hitting the back wall of the dishwasher, but I used the door to force it closed and latch it in, just latch it in. And I think when you do that, if you have any dish that's protruding or hitting the back door or hitting the back of the dishwasher, even by a half an inch, anything, When you force it shut with that lever, you're gonna ruin it. You wreck it. So from now on, I'm washing all my stock pots by hand. Anything that doesn't fit properly, easily in the dishwasher within the boundaries, I wash it by hand. I don't take any chances. Like I said, it's been 5 years I've been using this thing and just treating the handle like it's like a vice handle that I just close and latch it down and hit go. And it's not meant to work like that because it is kind of a fragile little deal. So that's just a heads up from me to you guys that there's a little more to that job than they make it look like on Appliance Parts Pros or whatever it is. He just puts it in place and shuts the door and everything's good. There's a little bit more to it than that, but not a lot. But you'll get it if you have to do the job. And yeah, that's just a little tidbit. So it did help my problem. I thought I had a bad timer assembly. So I actually bought one, but I have not installed it. And I will update if I need to install it at a later date. But yeah, just a tip for me to you guys, if you have a dishwasher, older GE dishwasher with the lever and the dial timer, which apparently it looks like they don't make anymore, I guess. That's it, just a tip. All right, thanks. You guys have a good day.